Coaches Direct presents Legends of the Game. Learn football fundamentals from the top college coaches in the country. Frank Beamer, Bobby Bowden, John Cooper, Frank Solich, Bob Toledo, Joe Paterno, Boyd Epley, Mac Brown, Philip Fulmer, and Tom Osborne. When you think of tradition in college football, and for that matter, college athletics, very few schools can match the history and success of UCLA. There's no doubt when you see the distinctive blue and gold uniforms on a Saturday afternoon as to what team you are watching. It's UCLA, and the Bruins are almost always on the winning end. UCLA's football tradition runs deep indeed, and nowhere is that more evident than at the quarterback position. In 1967, Bruin quarterback Gary Beeben won the Heisman Trophy as college football's top player. But the most famous UCLA quarterback is Troy Aikman. A 1988 All-American, Aikman led the Bruins to a 20-4 record in his 2 seasons as starting quarterback. Along the way, Aikman set many UCLA records and developed the skills that would help him lead the Dallas Cowboys to 3 Super Bowl titles. In 1995, the latest in a long line of great Bruin quarterbacks arrived on campus. And 4 years later, Cade McNown had rewritten the UCLA record book. The man most responsible for McNown's development at UCLA is head coach Bob Toledo. In his 26-year coaching career, Toledo has earned a national reputation as an offensive expert and quarterback coaching guru. A former standout college quarterback himself, Toledo was the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach at the University of Oregon and at Texas A&M prior to joining the UCLA staff in 1994. In this video, head coach Bob Toledo and Al Borges, the Bruins offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, will show you the fundamentals and drills taught at UCLA. It's no secret that it takes a special athlete to play quarterback. The skills, mental approach, and expectations are more demanding than that of any position on the field. The foundation of all successful quarterbacks is built on fundamentals. Practice the drills on this video, and you'll build a foundation that can make you a championship quarterback.
Hi, I'm Bob Toledo, the head football coach at UCLA. Today we're going to talk about some of the finer points of the quarterback position. I've been very fortunate to have coached some great college quarterbacks. Some have gone on to become outstanding professionals. Players like Bucky Richardson, Chris Miller, Bill Musgrave, and UCLA's own Cade McNown have been brilliant models of what I believe to be the consummate quarterback. Having played quarterback, as well as coaching the position for over 30 years, has given me what might find to be some interesting insights into the position. Here at UCLA, we run what we consider to be a very quarterback-friendly offense. We attempt to explore each and every skill our quarterback possesses while maintaining a philosophy that this must be tied to a cohesive effort by our offense as a whole. As far as our offensive philosophy is concerned, at UCLA, we are firm believers in a balanced offensive approach. We are a power running team that features our tailback as a #1 running threat. We offer an even mix of zone and man blocking schemes. We acknowledge the importance of running the football both inside and outside. We like to use the trap, draw, and screen to exploit an aggressive pass rush. As sold as we are on our system, we know that without undying work ethic and solid leadership from within, we have little chance to succeed. We pick our leaders carefully. We look for players with great character. We ask that they lead by example with an uncompromising mentality that sets them apart. We ask that each player demonstrate impeccable citizenship on and off the field. Our athletes are forced with the challenge of living
what we call a token fake. A token fake is used when we're throwing timing routes off a play-action pass. You notice that there's no animated movements. There's just a quick ball in, ball out movement. The quarterback sets and throws the ball before the defense can recover. Very good. The next fake that we use is what we call a good fake. In this instance now, the quarterback is probably rolling right or left in an attempt to jerk the defense and pull them out of their pass coverage responsibilities. The quarterback will not actually insert the ball into the back's gut. He will simply show the ball, pull it out at the last possible second, snapping his head in the direction of the possible contained man. You'll see Matt extends the football. As the ball comes out, his head comes around to find the most dangerous defender in his face. Now, let's watch him do it to the left. Ball's extended, head around. We like to get a nice 9-yard arc so we get enough depth so the defender's not right on us right away. We like to tell the quarterback, get 4 good, quick steps towards the fake so that he can get separation from the defender coming off the edge. Okay, our last fake is what we call a great fake. A great fake now is designed to get the back tackled. You can see that Matt's action is very, very animated. He wants to come out, swing his arm through. His eyes should follow the back of his hand. The ball should go into the paunch, not on the hip, so that's totally hidden from the defense. We want to keep the ball below the eye level of the linebackers so they can't see it. Faking stage in this instance is usually between the 2nd and 3rd step. He uses his 4th and 5th step to clear the back and find the primary read. First thing we want to talk about now is some of the fundamentals of our drop back. We start with the 3-step drop. The first one we're going to show you is the 3-step drop with just quick steps. 3 quick steps. The feet stay close to the ground. The ball stays within the perimeter of the shoulders, and we try to get the ball up quickly so that we can get it out quickly. The depth of this drop is generally only about 3.5 to 4 yards. We get the ball out fast because we're generally running 5 to 7 yard routes with our outside receivers. On the 3-step drop, we think it's very important that the quarterback stay focused on the box so that we hold the inside defenders inside as long as possible before we make the throw. We never want to telegraph the throw by looking outside too quickly and giving the defenders an opportunity to get an early jump on the ball. The next drop we use is a 3-big drop. We use this drop now when we're throwing the tight end stick route or certain forms of slants. Now the quarterback would like to reach and extend with his first step and gain balance with his next 2 steps. Again, eyeball in the box to keep the underneath coverage as honest as possible without telegraphing the throw. We want to stretch the first step, balance with the next 2 steps. The reason we use bigger steps in this instance is there is a strong possibility that we may have to go to an outlet receiver if the inside receivers are covered. Our next drop is the 5-step drop or the 5 quick drop. This is a drop that we use when throwing timing routes, generally thin post or 10 to 12 yard outs. The quarterback, again, will keep his feet as close to the ground as possible and be on balance on the 5th step so that the ball can come out on rhythm without having to reset. We would like to get the ball up quickly and focus on the box so that it can come out fast. Timing is crucial on the 5 quick drop. Our next drop is the 5 big drop. Now the 5 big drop, we are looking for 3 big steps coming out of center, trying to reach and extend with our first step, using good arm action to gain momentum for the drop, just as a sprinter would use to run a 100-yard dash. You can see the arms move with the legs. This drop should be as deep as 7.5 to 8 yards and generally will have a hitch step incorporated into it, as you can see there. Okay, the last drop we use is a 7-step drop. This is used when the patterns are much more up the field, where now our breaking points are 14 yards and further. The quarterback will try to gain a ton of depth with his first 3 steps by reaching and extending on his first step. On his last 4 steps, he would now like to come to balance. Once he hits the 7th step, he will now hitch step so he's in a nice balanced position to throw the ball. Next thing I think we should talk about is the grip. You can see Matt likes to basically put 2 fingers on the laces with his index finger on the top lace, 2 fingers off the ball. You can see that the fingers are spread nicely and evenly. We should never put the tip of the finger on the tip of the ball, which a lot of quarterbacks will do because they think they can be more accurate doing that. The index finger should basically be between the stripe and the tip of the ball. If we turn over now, we should find some space between the palm and the ball. We should not palm the ball too much because if we do that, the ball will come out and not spiral for you. So there should be some space and you should be able to fit a finger between the ball in your palm. Another thing, I think the smaller the hand, the more you have to come up on the ball. The bigger the hand, the more you can come down on the ball. And this is very much to the individual. The key to this now is when the ball's released, the index finger is always the last finger to leave the ball and should probably callus a little bit as you throw more and more. The next thing I want to talk about is your basic throwing mechanics. All right, what we have to do first of all is put the quarterback in position to throw the ball. The one thing we do not teach at UCLA is for the quarterback to stand tall. Matt, demonstrate that. We feel this is kind of a myth. We want to get his knees flexed in a nice athletic position, okay? We want to have the ball within the perimeter of the shoulders in a nice comfortable position, preferably on the back number, but not necessarily. If that's a comfortable position, that's fine. We don't want the ball up by his ear. We don't want the ball cocked back in this direction. We want it right there where we can separate at our own leisure when we need to do it, okay? The elbows should be down in a nice relaxed position. We don't want to flop the elbows out. We want to keep them down to where we're really comfortable. The next element now, from that good athletic position now, we want to do what we call set our hips to the target. That simply means now we're going to basically throw our belly button at the target. Now, if we're throwing in this direction, we don't want to step directly at that target. We want to offset that target approximately 4 inches so that we can get our hips open and get them into the throw. The step's approximately 4 to 6 inches, but again, certain guys will step a little further than other guys, and as long as it's not too elongated, generally the pass will stay accurate. As we talked about before, a key point, the shoulders must rotate with the throw so that we're getting the full upper body thrust into the throw. We don't want to throw the ball with a dead arm, and that simply means we've got to get the left arm as involved in the throw as we get the right arm. So, as I said before, we want to throw the punch with the left arm and then drive the right arm over the top. Show them that a couple times, Matt. Throw the punch with the left arm, offset the target, and drive the arm over the top. Another thing that we don't teach at UCLA is an overhand throw. We don't care if the ball's released high, and we don't care if the ball's thrown with overhand action. We believe that the perfect throw generally is a 3/4 arm action that comes basically from that point. We like to keep both hands on the football until we release the ball. But the arm swing, we don't believe, has to necessarily be overhand. As long as the thumbs go down and the finish is low, the swing of the arm really is irrelevant. We also are not big on emphasizing a high release. We don't want the ball released way up here. We want the ball released in a natural position that feels very comfortable to the quarterback. The next most important facet of throwing the ball is transferring your weight. And that simply means always finishing on your front foot. The weight should start from the back and end on the front. Now, some quarterback coaches even teach you to lean back a little with the throw. Well, we don't do that, but we do want you to be in balance when you're ready to pull the trigger. And we want you on the left foot and with a nice low finish at the end of the throw. Okay, now let's put it all together. Let's take a little 3-step drop and just hitch up with the full motion. Matt will start his 3-step drop, keep good flexion in the knees, drive the thumbs down, and finish with a nice low follow-through. Again, key points are we don't want to be standing tall with our knees locked when we hit the set point. We want to be in a flexed and athletic position. Number 2, we must always make sure we offset our target so we're not stepping directly in the direction of the target, but slightly outside the target so we can get our hips to the throw. The shoulder should rotate, and the left arm should be as involved in the throw as the right arm is. The weight should transfer, and the finish should be nice and low. Okay, the next element we're going to talk about is the center-quarterback exchange, the most important part of starting any play. I want to introduce to you Sean Stewart, who played 4 years as center for us here at UCLA. He'll be demonstrating the center part of this of the exchange. Okay, what we're going to do to start with is we're going to have the quarterback show us how his hands are fit for the exchange. He will put the ridges of his thumbs together in a fashion that basically lock his hands, okay? The top hand now, come on over here, Matt. The top hand will now go under the center, no deeper than the wrist. The index finger will be pushed through the buttocks line. Demonstrate that if you will one more time, Matt. There you go, very good. Okay, the bottom hand now points to the center's left heel. This is an important thing to note because we don't want the hands cupped. We want the hands in almost a 45-degree angle so that the ball is exchanged right up through the hands, okay? The fingers now, Matt, pull out a second and show. The fingers now are evenly spread. We don't want the fingers too tight and we don't want the fingers too wide. We want them nice and relaxed and evenly spread. Now, this is a very key point in the center exchange. We want to give pressure to the center, but we want the pressure to be subtle yet very firm. Sean's got to know where exactly the ball is going to be exchanged. If the quarterback is passive in nature, he will not know exactly where the hand placement is, thus the snap will not be true. So he wants to give Stu pressure, but he doesn't want to give him so much that it throws him off balance. Now we're going to start the exchange. The center will whip the ball back. He will snap the ball back. He will not swing the ball back. He'll push the ball about a quarter turn right into the quarterback's hands. One more time, Stu. Very good. Okay. You notice that the hands now for the quarterback should not separate on impact. They should stay intact. And that's why we want to fit the ridges of the thumbs fairly tight. Very good. Very good. The next element we're going to talk about is seating the football. Once the ball's exchanged, the quarterback now takes the ball and places it into the third hand, which is what we call seating the football. See, Matt now takes the ball into his belly, keeps the ball as condensed as possible and secure. Everything we do starts with this movement. Matt now knows he's got the ball and can initiate any play in our offense from that position. The last thing the quarterback will do now, after seating the ball, is work out of a triangle. That means being able to reverse turn right, as Matt's doing here, reverse turn left, open turn right, or open turn left. As well as being able to drop straight back with some form of drop back pass or play pass mechanics. Every day we start practice with what we call a snap drill. What we do is you go through a sequence of things that help us know and understand how to snap the football and the basic center quarterback fundamental exchange. The quarterback will show the center his hands, and the center will show the quarterback the ball. First thing we'll do now is we'll bring the ball up without the quarterback under center. Sean is going to snap the ball and try to extend the ball, simulating the quarterback's hands being in place. Okay, the second thing we'll do is use the butt of the hand. Now the quarterback will insert his hand with his index finger through the buttocks line without the bottom hand involved in the snap. The third thing we do is what we call the silent count. Now the quarterback will go into his basic exchange position, and he will take the snap simply by saying go, practice seating and separating from the center. Go. Okay, the next fundamental that we're going to work on is the cage call. On a cage call, the center will step right and the quarterback will reverse turn in the opposite direction. We will also practice it to the left.
Cage left. Go.
The quarterback will ride the center in the direction of the call before he reverse turns to hand the ball off. He's simply getting a feel for the center moving right or left with the snap. The next thing is the quarterback sneak. The quarterback will take the snap, drop step, and come in behind the center. We will do this right or we will do this left. key elements to this is that the quarterback take a nice short drop step, and the quarterback and center keep their shoulders down. You can see it now executed to the left. All right, now we're going to talk about the shotgun. Here's a cage call, just as we did under center, from the shotgun. Very good. And all we're doing here now is basically the same thing we were doing from under center, only trying to get a feel for it now from the shotgun look. You'll see that the quarterback keeps his knees slightly bent in a position where he's anticipating the possibility of a bad snap. He will raise his hands as soon as he's ready to take the snap. So everything he does with regard to directing our protections, calling audibles, any miscellaneous actions that happen must happen before he raises his hands. Sean's cue is the hands raising, that he knows he can snap the ball anytime after Matt shows that he's ready. We'd like the snap at about waist height within the perimeter of the shoulders. That's a perfect snap right there. Now the quarterback doesn't have to have any lost movement when executing his mechanics. The quarterback will line up with his toes at 5 yards deep, his knees slightly bent, in a nice athletic position that will allow him to move quickly right or left. Now we're going to execute the full shotgun drop. Everything we do in the shotgun with regard to drop back is initiated with a punch step with the foot opposite his throwing arm. So Matt will take a slight 4 to 6 inch punch step with his left foot to initiate his drop back. We are a 3-step drop team from the shotgun, therefore never getting more than 9 yards at our initial set point. Once we hit 9 yards, we will then hitch step back into the pocket so that our launch point is right around 7.5 to 7 yards. We never want to be too deep, therefore making it difficult for our offensive tackles to block wide rushing ends. The most critical phase of initiating any football play is the center quarterback exchange. Every day for 5 minutes, whether it be the first practice of two-a-days or the last practice of spring ball, we work on the snap drill. The snap drill is very simple, very basic, and very fundamental, but we never take it for granted because we know that once we do, we're going to have balls on the ground and we're going to have problems. We can't waste plays with bad snaps. So every day we are going to emphasize this drill so the players understand the importance of it. Okay, we've seen some of the drills, we've seen some of the techniques. Now let's take it inside and work on the chalkboard a little bit. In my 15 years of coaching quarterbacks, I've found that there are 10 ingredients that basically make a great quarterback. And it really doesn't matter what level of football they're playing at, whether it's Pop Warner or the pros. All these factors, I think, are very important. Intelligence being the starting point. You don't have to be a genius. There's been a lot of different levels of intelligence that have played the position. I think you got to be tough, though. I think you got to be willing to stand in the pocket, take a shot to complete a pass. I think you got to be able to take hits when you're running the football. I think you have to demonstrate toughness so the rest of your team can see that. I think knowledge of the offense is a very big factor. You have to know inside and outside what your coach expects. Work ethic is something everybody can be great at. All you have to do is be willing to spend the time and effort to do what it takes to play the position. Passing accuracy, a huge part. A lot of players who don't have the strongest arms in the world can still play the position simply because they have great accuracy throwing the ball from point A to point B. Poise. This is how the quarterback handles adversity. What is he going to do once he's thrown an interception? What is he going to do once the other team has scored on him? Athletic ability. This is becoming more and more of a prominent factor in playing quarterback today because the old days when the quarterback could stand in the pocket and throw the ball without having to worry about avoiding the rush are gone. You now have to be able to run, jump, accelerate, do a lot of the things it takes outside of throwing the football to play the position. Decision making. A lot of coaches will tell you this is 90% of the position. Decision making encompasses a lot of things. It takes in where you're going to throw the ball in the passing game, whether you're going to run or pitch on the option play, when you need to audible, when you need to check, all those things that involve decisions. And leadership, another area where A lot of players can be very, very good at it and not have the greatest of ability. How much can you get, or how well can you get the players around you to play well? Are you willing to take the risk of being a great leader? And 10th, I think arm strength. Arm strength is important but not critical. But the quicker the ball gets to the receiver, the less closing time for the defense, the better you probably be at playing the position. This becomes, I think, more of a factor as you play the position at higher levels. I think the most important thing to understand is not so much what you're good at, but knowing what you're not good at and knowing where you can improve. Because there's no question that there's very, very few quarterbacks that on a scale of 1 to 10 are a 10 in every one of those areas. So as a coach, I think you got to look at those 10 things when looking for a quarterback. And as a player, I think you got to look to improve in the areas that you're not as good at. Now that we've had an opportunity to see some of the drills and techniques in the practice field, let's take a look at a couple of them on video. Okay, our first example is of the 3 quick drop. This is a quick out thrown to the right to our flanker. The quarterback takes a quick 3 steps and puts the ball right on the outside hip of the receiver, giving him an opportunity to run after catch. You can see his feet are close to the ground. He eyeballs the box as long as he can before looking out into the flat and making his read. The next example is of a 3 big drop. This is what we call a stick route to our tight end, where the quarterback will now extend his 3 steps, hit his back foot, and put the ball right on the outside hip of the tight end. You can see that the depth of the drop is a little bit deeper, but all the fundamentals of the throw stay intact. Good weight transfer, good low finish. All right, the next example is of a quick 5 drop. Now this is Cade McNown throwing the ball on time on a thin post to our outside receiver. Cade with his feet close to the ground and the ball up on his 4th step, ready to be released. You can see how the ball's delivered on the break with no loss in timing. You can see how his feet are close to the ground from the end zone view. You can see how the ball comes up on the last step, couple steps, and comes out quickly once he plants his foot. It's a pure rhythm throw designed to be thrown on time. Our next example is of a 5 big drop. Now you'll see Cade dropping back with 5 big steps, trying now to extend his first couple steps more and gain a little bit more depth so as to see the throwing lane all the better. Once he reaches his drop, the lane clears, he sets his hips to the right and throws the ball right down the cylinder. The end zone view gives you a good example of how much authority you can throw the ball with if you get good weight transfer. Again, the eyes stay on the box so the underneath coverage doesn't get a quick look at where you're going with the ball. Here's a shotgun snap. Toes at 5 yards, hands will extend once he's ready to take the ball. The center will wait for this cue and will not pull his head up until he gets this cue. The shotgun drop is initiated with a punch step with the foot opposite your throwing arm. In this case, Cade being left-handed, he will punch step first with his right foot. It's a quick 3 drop and will always dictate a hitch step, which should bring his momentum towards the target area. Here's a good example now of throwing mechanics where Cade is forced, I should say, to throw the ball to alternate receivers, therefore having to reset his feet. His primary read is a shallow crossing route to the flanker. Because that route's covered, he refocuses inside to the tight end who is also covered, but out of the corner of his eye sees the running back pop open. You can see his hips open to the target. He hits the running back with good weight transfer and a nice accurate pass. This is the 7-step variation that we talked about in the drill work. The end zone really demonstrates Cade's first look, second look, and his adjustment with his footwork once he sees the third receiver get open. Here's a great example of throwing on the run toward your arm side. This is a little sprint out pass. You can see Cade steps to the target nicely and finishes with his momentum going toward the target. Our outside receiver's running a little counter move where he fakes a comeback and takes off up the field. The ball's dropped in very nicely with great touch. The end zone demonstrates well how his momentum is going directly at the target. He's not falling off, and I think this is a big part of why the pass is so accurate. Here's another sprint out pass, this time away from his arm side. For Cade, this would be a sprint to the right. Here you can see he gains good depth. We try to get 9 yards in depth and delivers the ball right on time as the receiver comes out of the break, with a good step towards the target, locating the ball to the outside. You can see he throws the punch with the right hand to get the shoulder thrust and rotation he needs to get the ball there. Here's an example of a flush. This is a great play where the quarterback drops back and feels pressure from his left side. Now, in most cases, the quarterback will try to step underneath the edge rusher. But in this case, he feels pressure not only from the defender but his own offensive player and steps around the rusher but gets moving back towards his target area. Always maintaining his passing grip on the ball, he looks for receivers in front of him. And at the last possible second, sees one break open for a touchdown. This was an exceptional play and one that was improvised but practiced. You can see, always looking downfield to throw, always keeping his passing grip on the ball, and as he sees a receiver pop open, he lets him have the ball. Here's an example of a token fake. In this instance, we're just trying to freeze the defense temporarily so we can throw the ball before they react. The quarterback will just show the ball quickly, hit his drop, and throw the ball on time. In this instance, the back will do the bulk of the faking. The quarterback will simply show the ball. He'll never sacrifice timing for play faking. Here's a good fake. In this instance now, the quarterback's trying to jerk the defense right or left. He'll show the ball to the running back and hold it there as long as he possibly can until the last fraction of a second. He'll pull the ball back and throw his head around, looking for the most dangerous defender. In this case, there is no dangerous defender, but he sees the receiver break open, and as he sees his eyes, he gives him the ball. See how the ball's extended. Everything looks like it's going to be given to the back. And at the last possible second, the disconnect takes place and the head comes around. As soon as he sees the eyes of the receiver, he gives him the ball. Here's an example of a great fake. In this instance now, he wants to make the defense believe that he's given the ball to the back. His hands will detach, his passing grip will stay on the ball, and the ball should stay within the perimeter of his shoulders. His shoulders would shrug slightly, and his eyes should follow his hands. I want to thank Matt Walker for doing a great job of demonstrating some of the drills and techniques that we teach here in UCLA. Matt has a great attention to detail, and I think it showed up in his work here today. Thanks a lot, Matt.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it. Well, you can see that playing quarterback takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time and a lot of meticulous detail to be as good as you can be. But if you're willing to spend that kind of time, you can be a great quarterback.
As a head football coach of a major university, I am constantly faced with motivating our football team. Motivation is simply that which propels man into action. It can come from within or from an outside source. We're motivated by many things. Many things such as praise, fear, and reward come into mind. Praise is the one that I like to use the most because it's positive. Everyone wants to feel appreciated and respected. Some people, however, are motivated by fear of failure. Nobody wants to look bad or lose. Rewards are very beneficial, but they're short-term. So in my opinion, self-motivated people are usually the most successful. They usually achieve the highest level of success. They're enthusiastic, they're positive, they're self-disciplinarians. They recognize opportunities and they take advantage of them. All of the great quarterbacks that I have come in contact with were self-motivated people. They believe in themselves, they're tireless workers, they give you 100% effort all the time, and they play to their potential and they never give up or quit. Most of the self-motivated quarterbacks I have coached have great attitudes and are very goal-oriented. They're willing to pay the price and they work extremely hard. There isn't much success without self-sacrifice. The legendary coach Vince Lombardi once said, "The harder you work, the harder it is to surrender." And General Colin Powell probably said it best when he said, "There are no secrets to success. It is the result of preparation, hard work, and learning from failure." Football obviously is a great game. It draws the most competitive people. Football can teach you an awful lot about the game of life, so go out and enjoy it.
I hope you've enjoyed this tape by Bob Toledo and Al Borges from UCLA. As you know, UCLA has recently had some great quarterbacks, and Bob Toledo has been associated with a great number of great quarterbacks over his coaching career, and certainly has brought the UCLA program to a point of great prominence. So I'm sure that you benefited greatly from listening to what these two fine coaches had to offer. This Legends of the Game video is one in a series of instructional tapes made for coaches, athletes, parents, and fans of the game of football. There are a total of 10 tapes available covering all aspects of football. We sought out the best coaches in the country in order to produce top quality instructional tapes. If you would like to order additional videos or receive more information about the Legends of the Game series, call 800-230-3831 or write us at Coaches Direct in Lincoln, Nebraska. You may also fax us at area code 402-465-8849, or you can visit us on our website at www.coachesdirect.com. Thank you for your interest in the game of football.